the hell? There's no light. Excuse my language. Um. Oh, that's better. A little bit. It's like 2:30 in the morning. I just woke up to go pee and have a smoke. Okay. Today when I was walking to the liquor store, I seen this guy, and he was all cracked out, sitting on the curb. I'll get to the reason I knew he was cracked out and not on meth. Okay, a couple hours later, because I was in a lot of pain last night and during the daytime, so I really didn't want to walk to the market. But there was nothing in here, and I needed something to eat. So I was walking to the market, and on the way to the market, I had my headphones in my ear, but I wasn't listening to anything. On the way to the market, this same guy, he's like, "Do you have a cigarette?" So I'm pretending, because I have my headphones on, that I'm listening to something, and I ignore him. And it's like, excuse me, as I walk by. On the way back from the market, he changed his clothes. He had on like a mechanic uniform and, a mask. Same guy. And he's like, "Do you have a cigarette?" And I'm like, "No," and walk by him. Well, that same guy, about 5 and something years ago, I told you that I had an accident. A Suburban crashed into me. I flew 20 feet and it ended up on top of me. So, when I got out of the hospital 30 days later, I still couldn't move anything but my arm. And, I had to, learn how to re-walk and everything. Had a machine connected to me, everything. But when I was relearning how to walk, and I was still on the walker, and still had the spine brace on 24/7, and I told you my old best friend he's not old, he's like the same age as my oldest kid, but yeah, he used to live across the hallway, and he took care of me. He took care of me when I couldn't walk. And well, anyways, I was on my walker. I learned how to walk, and still on my spine brace 24/7. And there was a knock at the door. I opened the door, and mind you, the Suburban was on top of my head too. I don't know if you can see that green streak that looks like a removed tattoo, and this right here, it's got black dots on it, looking like big old black heads, but they're from the stitches. Well, anyways, I opened the door, and I said, "Do I know you?" He said, "Yeah, you're so-and-so," and said my name. "And I've been here before, da-da-da-da, this and that." So I let him in. And, the only place to sit was on the bed. And, I had my spine brace, so I had to sit straight up and have my walker in front of me. And he said, "Do you mind if I smoke?" I said, "No, not at all." And I, reached around me and grabbed the ashtray. And he pulled out a crack pipe. That's when I know I didn't know this guy. I said, "You know what? I don't know you. Get out." So he left. Yeah, if you're saying you know me and, I'm not all there, but he said my name. And he said he'd been here before. And, things were still foggy, But I knew as soon as he pulled out a crack pipe, I didn't know this guy. What the fuck? And I told Carlos, and he was really upset. He said, "What's the matter with you?" He said, "Next time somebody comes to the door and you don't know if you know them or not, you call me." you know, and, I was thinking that there used to be a pedophile that lived downstairs. His name was Eddie, well, his name is Eddie Amy. He was on Megan's list. And, sometimes he'd have people over there that smoke crack. And, one of them was a homeless guy named Darrell. And this guy and me did not get along. I mean, he came up in my face when I was still wearing the spine brace. And he's like, and, well, anyways, this one guy used to smoke crack, out in the alley. He used to live out in the alley. And one time he was smoking crack, he'd smoke crack right on the back of the, outside the entrance door in the back. And one time he was smoking crack just right there sitting across the building, and all these helicopters with searchlights and, are in the air and shit, and he's sitting there smoking crack. I'm thinking, how can he not be paranoid? Because I've been around people that smoke crack. I mean, I used to work in a bar where one of my obligations was making sure one person was in the bathroom smoking crack at a time. Unless it was a girl sucking dick for money. I can say that because the place no longer exists. But, well, anyways, I was thinking that Eddie Amy, the registered pedophile that used to live here, is the one that sent him up here or told him my name. But, well, anyways, fast forward to like, I don't know, it was last year. I'm walking down the alley, towards the building, and this person is walking towards me, towards the alley, in the alley, and has a beanie and a mask on, was dressed warmly, and they had their arm out towards me. They opened their arms to get a hug. And, the face being all covered and stuff, I thought it was Jason. I've told you about young Jason. He moved. But I've told you about young Jason. He used to help me with my stuff. He's 22 years old. Good kid. He used to help me upstairs with my stuff, and we'd have conversations, or, he'd walk me to the store when I was like weak and stuff. And, good kid. So, I went into his arms to give him a hug, thinking it was Jason. And I turned around, and I seen his face. And I said, "I don't know you. Get away from me." So that's the same guy that came up to my door and pretended like he knew me. And the same guy from last night. It's just freaking weird. Yeah, it's just weird. And I see this guy periodically, and he's like spun out all the time. But he's asking me for a cigarette when I don't have no money. Yeah. But, weird. I mean, mega weird. You get me? But I'll always remember that guy now, every time I see him. Because who does that? I seen him last night, and I'm, I don't know. It's just freaking weird. He's asking me for a cigarette. Every time he sees me, he asks me for a cigarette. And, he's got the money to be cracked out all the time. But he's going to ask me for a cigarette, and I don't have no money. But, yeah, I thought that was awfully weird that he changed his clothes and put on like a mechanic's uniform last night. You know, sometimes. Sorry. Excuse me. I was looking way on the floor, and there's paper towels on the floor, but yeah, some of this stuff, it never ceases to amaze me. You know, and Eddie Amy, the pedophile, is the one that started the smear campaign that I killed a dog. And like a year or a little bit more, I heard it again from Miss Jessica when I met Miss Jessica. And she told me, you know, and described Eddie Amy perfectly, that he told her this. And, you know, I talked to the dog owner again after all those years of people thinking I killed a dog. And the dog owner said, no. He goes, I never believed you killed my dog. He said, so-and-so killed the dog by poison. You know, how could he ever even entertain the thought? He brought it up to me many years ago. You know, it's like I know every cat on the block. You know, I talk to the cats. I talk to the dogs when I'm walking. You know, he sees that. But, yeah. Weird ass, weirdo, gang stalking games. It's just really freaking weird. Yeah. But all these years later, you know, if you don't do something and somebody pulls out, he pulled out a fucking crack pipe. I thought he meant a cigarette. As soon as he pulled out a crack pipe, I knew I didn't know this motherfucker. You know, no. Nobody's ever come up here smoking. I thought he meant a cigarette. All right, well, that's the story I wanted to tell you about the guy tonight. Peace, love, laughter, and joy.